Is the screen visible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Should we start? So we'll start. Okay. What is phimosis? Phimosis is the stenosis of the prepucial ring with inability to detach the foreskin. What is paraphimosis? Asked commonly in your exams is the retention of the retracted foreskin in the position proximal to the coronal sulcus. What is balanitis? Balanitis is the inflammation of the foreskin, and posthitis is the inflammation of the glans. So these four definitions you need to know: phimosis, paraphimosis, balanitis, and posthitis. Now, phimosis can be physiological, can be pathological, but there are certain grades of phimosis.
Correct.
So, what are the grades of phimosis? See, from below upwards, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One is the full retraction of the foreskin. Second is the partial exposure of the glans and prepuce. Score 3 is partial retraction. Meatus is just visible. Fourth is just only slight retraction, and there is some distance between the tip and the glans. And 5 is absolutely no retraction. So this is the diagram. Type 1, type 2, type 3, type 4, type 5 being the one in which whole of the glans is visible, and type 1 where nothing is visible. Is the picture clear? Is the picture clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now coming to physiological phimosis, it is defined as inability to withdraw the narrowed penile foreskin or prepuce behind the glans penis. Okay, without any acquired disease. It is a physiological condition seen in infants. Etiology being a narrow prepucial tip, some adhesions, frenulum breve, and difficulty retraction. These are the pics depicting it. How to diagnose that it's physiological one? See, pathological things like pain, dysuria, UTI will be absent in physiological phimosis. What can be a complication? Complication can be paraphimosis. Okay. And what is the treatment of physiological phimosis? You have to reassure the patient, the parents, that this condition is normal, and as the age of the infant progresses, it will become normal. So with lukewarm water, they can wash the penis and try gentle retraction each and every time during bathing and urination. So that will make the foreskin supple and retractile over time. What is pathological phimosis? See, if there is any acquired or iatrogenic trauma, constriction, any pathological condition like balanitis rhotica obliterans, any balanoposthitis, any forcible retraction of the skin of the prepuce, then it's a pathological phimosis. Okay. How to diagnose? Symptoms of bleeding, dysuria, hematuria, UTI, painful erection, weak steam, they will be present. Look at this picture. This picture for itself, it says that something is wrong. This whitish thing and a narrow meatus, thickened prepuce is suggestive of balanitis xerotica obliterans. You just concentrate on the pictures. I will share the PPT if you people want. Okay. How to manage it? See, first and foremost in your exam, you have to say that circumcision is the treatment of choice. But apart from circumcision, if the examiner says what else can we do, so we can use EMLA local anesthesia creams or topical steroids like betamethasone. This is how a circumcision is done. Figure A is depicting an incision all around the foreskin. In the B, the foreskin is being freed from the adhesions of the glans. In figure C, the initial incision is maintained, the skin is lifted from the foreskin from the mucous membrane, and D, the edges are sutured. The coronal sulcus and the skin incision are met and meticulously sutured. Plastibell technique is asked both in the NEET exams and in your final year exam. It is used for neonatal circumcision. With the small artery forceps, you just separate the skin of the prepuce, then you incise it, and there is a this thing, plastibell like thing, by which you cover the glans. See the fourth figure from above. Okay. Then after that, a tie is a tie is placed around the foreskin, so it slits over the groove in the body of the plastibell, and distal skin is cut. This is the sleeve resection circumcision. You had plastibell. This is the sleeve. The advantage with sleeve is that correct anatomical placement of sutures is possible. This is the best method to do a circumcision till date. Okay, you have made an incision on the coronal sulcus as seen in figure 2, and you have made an incision on the skin of the shaft as well. And then both the skin incisions are met with each other and meticulously sutured. So sleeve resection circumcision is the best form of doing a circumcision. It gives the best anatomical details. Okay. Initially, people used to have a Gomco clamp. See, this is like a funnel. It will sit on the glans, and this is the Gomco clamp. So also question comes in the NEET PG that Gomco clamp is used for. It was earlier used for circumcision. Now it is not used for circumcision, only of historical importance. Of late, a device known as ZSR stapler has come to do circumcision. Just know the name ZSR stapler and ZSR circumcision surgery. Clear? Can we proceed?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, what is paraphimosis? Paraphimosis is when the foreskin has gone beyond the coronal sulcus and it cannot be reduced back to its original position. This will be surely asked in your exams, phimosis and paraphimosis. Okay. Now, if the skin is there for several hours and there is a lack of blood flow, it should be treated as a medical emergency because it can result in a gangrene of the glands. Okay. What can be included in paraphimosis? Like the definition, also there would be a tight constricting ring around the glands. Shaft proximal to the area of constriction will be flaccid. Glands may become increasingly erythematous and edematous. Okay. Etiology can be anything from forceful penile examination, catheterization, cystoscopy, self-infliction, and a plethora of things. What can be kept in differential diagnosis? It is asked in the exams: angioedema, contact dermatitis, melanitis, and upfront bites and hematoma as well. How to manage? How to manage the paraphimosis? Main goal is to reduce the foreskin to its natural position. Okay, mainly done in local anesthesia because it is very painful condition. You can give a penile block. You can use lignocaine jelly 2%. Okay, what you can do is you can give a vertical incision in the dorsal aspect and then you can reduce it, or you should go for a, if everything failed, then go for an emergency circumcision. So this was all about paraphimosis and phimosis. Coming to stricture urethra. Okay, first and foremost, male urethra is divided into anterior urethra and posterior urethra. What is posterior urethra? Posterior urethra is the prostatic urethra and the sphincter mechanism involving with it. Okay, it can be divided into a bladder neck or the preprostatic urethra, the prostatic urethra, and the membranous urethra. Some facts: incidence of stricture is 0.6%. Okay, and we were the father of surgery, Sushruta. Okay, he described the treatment of stricture urethra 600 years, okay, back. Okay, stricture urethra is, whenever you say a stricture urethra, it means that you are talking about anterior urethra and not the posterior urethra. Posterior urethral stricture is not a definition. There is no stricture in the posterior urethra. In the posterior urethra, you have contracture, stenosis, and distraction defect. Anterior urethra, you have stricture, and posterior urethra, you have contracture, stenosis, distraction defect. Keep this in your mind always. This is the anatomy you all must be knowing. Length is 18 to 20 centimeter. Division into anterior and posterior segment. Also, what is this? Is the image visible?
Yes,
Come on,
sir.
faster. The image is visible. What is this structure? Anyone? This is the prostatic urethra. What is this structure? These are the loops of the prostate. This is the bladder neck. What is this structure lying in the bed of the prostatic urethra? Anyone? Please.
Verumentanum.
Sorry?
Verumentanum.
Verumentanum. Great. Note the length of the prostatic urethra asked in the exams, 2.5 to 3.5 centimeter. Okay. And lined by transitional epithelium, which may extend into the prostatic ducts. This is the membranous urethra. Okay, length is 2 to 2.5 centimeter. Here the length was 2.5 to 3.5 centimeter. Spans from the apex till the perineal membrane. And this is the area which is the most significant one. Why? Because it is lined by the external urethral sphincter responsible for the continent mechanism, lined by pseudostratified columnar epithelium. Bulbar urethra extends from the sphincter till the penoscrotal junction, surrounded by corpus spongiosum, contains the opening of the duct of the corpus gland. Asked in the exam very significantly, NEET PG. Most common question, if any one question will have to come from stricture part in NEET PG, it will be where is the opening of the corpus gland located? It is in the bulbar urethra. What are Leiter's gland? Leiter's gland are all along the floor of the penile urethra, composed of small mucus secreting cells. They lubricate the urethra before ejaculation. Okay, rich in goblet cells. Also asked very commonly in the NEET exams. Penile urethra is the largest one, 10 to 15 centimeter. Okay, it is also known as pendulous urethra. Spans from the suspensory ligament to the meatus, surrounded by the corpus spongiosum. This is the blood supply. Penile urethra most commonly by the internal pudendal. Okay. Other arteries are the bulbar urethral one. Venous supply is by the bulbar veins, and they further drain into the prostatic plexus, drains into the internal pudendal vein finally. Now see, understand one thing about the histology. This will be asked in your Viva Voice. The earlier concept was prostatic urethra is transitional, same continuity with the bladder. Membranous is pseudostratified columnar. Penobulbar is pseudostratified columnar and stratified columnar, and meatus is stratified squamous. Recent concept, the recent Campbell, not recent, the recent has come to just now, the earlier one, 2016. It said, unlike the transitional epithelium of the remainder of the urethra, the urethral mucosa that traverses the glans penis is a squamous epithelium. Okay, the cells became keratinized near the meatus. This is the recent concept. How to define a stricture urethra? It will be asked in the exam. It is the scarring process involving the urethral epithelium or the spongy erectile tissue of the corpus spongiosum. So two things are involved. I am laying stress on the fact that two things are involved. Not only the urethral epithelium, but the spongy erectile tissue of the corpus spongiosum. Spongiofibrosis. Stricture of the urethra, you have to utter these two words: urethral epithelium scarring and spongiofibrosis. Okay, severity of spongiofibrosis will decide the fate of the stricture. These are the various grades of spongiofibrosis. A being a mucosal fold only. B is like iris contraction. C is full thickness with minimum fibrosis of the spongial tissue. Okay, D is full thickness spongiofibrosis. E is also full thickness with fibrosis involving tissue outside the corpora spongiosum. And E, there is a fistula tract. Okay, so A, B, C, D, E, F. You need to remember this, the classification of anterior urethral stricture. Then also very important, 4 types of anterior urethral stricture: idiopathic, traumatic, inflammatory, iatrogenic. Remember them. What is idiopathic? They may arise from unrecognized childhood trauma or a congenital anomaly in the urethral development. What is traumatic? Everyone of you understand what is traumatic. Okay, most common site is proximal bulbar stricture. Okay. What is inflammatory? Inflammatory may be because of inflammation and infection of the tract caused by gonorrhea or chlamydia or BXO. What are the locations of stricture? Bulbar stricture are the commonest, 50%, penile 30%, fossa or meatus 20%, and panurethral 13.4%. What is the meaning of panurethral? What is the meaning of panurethral? Anyone? Come on, yeah. Panurethral means the entire urethra, which will encompass which portions of urethra? The penile and the. Okay, let me ask you a question. Panurethral stricture involves penile urethra, bulbar urethra, membranous urethra, prostatic urethra. Is this statement correct or incorrect?
Yes, sir.
देखो stricture per se is only for anterior urethra. Stricture per se is only for anterior urethra. And what are the components of anterior urethra? Just now we have discussed what are the components of anterior urethra. You see this figure? What is anterior urethra? Urethra is divided into two parts, anterior and posterior. What are the components of anterior urethra? The component of anterior urethra are penile urethra and bulbar urethra. So what is the meaning of a panurethral stricture? This question will be asked if you get a stricture disease.
Stricture in penile and bulbar urethra.
Yes. How will it present? It will present as LUTS, lower urinary tract symptoms of hesitancy, staining, poor flow, and the rest of all. Along with it, UTI can occur, prostatitis, retention. Because of the retention, upward hydronephrosis, bilateral HDUN may lead into CKD renal failure and vesicle calculus formation as well. How to evaluate? History, uroflow, urethrophy, cystoscopy, ultrasound. Bougie, you don't say at your level. MRI and CT wording electrogram. What is uroflowmetry? Uroflowmetry is a simple, non-invasive method to evaluate voiding function. You ask the patient to void. Where to void? On a plate. That plate, because of the gravity of the falling urine, will plot a curve. Okay, so see one, bell shape, it is the normal voiding pattern. 2 is benign prostatic hyperplasia. There is some obstruction. And 3 is urethral stricture. This plateau one, okay? See this one. Normally the curve should be bell shaped. And this plateau form is stricture. So it will be asked in the MCQs and in the exam as well. Urethrophy we have discussed in the last class. RG plus MCU being the gold standard to identify stricture urethra. This is the position, the lateral position. Okay. These landmarks we have discussed before: bladder, prostate, membranous urethra, bulbar urethra, penile urethra, tip of the penis. Okay. See, this is the bladder neck. These are the prostates. This is the external sphincter. And what should be opposite? Which part of the urethra is this? Enclosed by the external sphincter. We have just discussed. Which is this part of the urethra? Which part of urethra is enclosed by the external sphincter? We have just discussed.
Posterior urethra.
Okay, in posterior urethra, which one? Prostatic or the membranous?
Membranous urethra.
Membranous, correct, ma'am. Thank you. Okay, so this is the RG we have discussed last time. See, this is a stricture, single stricture. Okay. See, This is the bulbar urethral stricture. This is the canal urethra. This is the bulbar urethra. This is the bulbar stricture. And this I was talking a pan-urethral stricture. Pan-urethral. Okay. MCU we have discussed last time. What is the need to see the MCQ? Let me ask you a question, a simple question. If by RGU you are making out that patient has a stricture, what is the need to do a MCU as well? What is the need to do a MCU as well? Suppose there is a traffic jam on a highway. There would be a starting point, there would be an ending point. Okay. So by doing RGU, you would know the distal aspect of the stricture, the distal aspect of the traffic jam. But to know the proximal aspect of the traffic jam, somebody needs to come from before till the proximal part. So that function would be done by MCU. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
So both RGU and MCU are necessary to evaluate the stricture. RGU will define the distal extent, MCU will define the proximal extent and the condition of the bladder neck. This is the bladder neck. Suppose you have a stricture and the bladder neck is closed. What would you get by repairing the stricture if the neck is closed? So by injecting dye via an SPC, via a syringe, and making the patient void, which is the MCU, you will get to know the condition of the bladder neck and the proximal extent. See, this is the proximal extent. This is the proximal extent. Okay, so that is why MCU is required. Position for VCUG. This is the voiding cystoscopy films. See this filling defect. This is the verumontanum. Okay, so verumontanum signifies area of prostatic urethra. This filling defect. This is combined cystourethropy, which is the gold standard. Can anyone tell me what is this? Can anyone tell me what is the diagnosis over here? Bones are fractured. I'm giving you a hint. The pelvic bones are fractured. Now the diagnosis. This will come in the spotting here. Bones are fractured, urethral discontinuation. Anterior urethra normal. Prostatic urethra injured. How many more clues you want? This is fracture pelvis urethral distraction defect. I am repeating myself. This is fracture pelvis urethral distraction defect. Clear? Clear or not?
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you.
Yes, sir.
Scopy, we have a cystoscopy. This is the cystoscope. This is the flexible cystoscope. This is how something a stricture will look like. Okay. Scope can be flexible, can be rigid. Most commonly, we are using the rigid one. Sonourethrogram, you need to understand at your level that a sonourethrogram, you will push jelly or saline in the urethra and you would do ultrasonography. This will comment on the degree of spongiofibrosis. So the work of sonourethrogram is to comment on the degree of spongiofibrosis, and based on that, strictures are graded as mild, moderate, severe. Now the treatment part, how to manage a stricture. Earlier time, they just used to dilate the stricture with a metal dilator, balloon dilator or elastic dilator. These are the Clayton and the Lister's dilator, and this is the flexible one. This is the balloon dilator. After dilatation, what is DVIU? DVIU is direct vision internal lithotomy, also called as commonly OIU, optical internal lithotomy. Will be asked in the exam the full form. Who introduced sachet? Okay. Transurethral incision on stricture to open the urethra and the scar to expand. Healing in OIU will be by secondary intention, again asked in the NEET exams. Most commonly incision given at 12 o'clock position. Okay. This is something a stricture would look like. So what are the strictures which are amenable for treatment with DBIU? Ideal case would be bulbar urethral stricture less than 1.5 centimeter, soft stricture, single stricture. Success rate is 74%. Results are generally poor if the condition of the patient is not satisfying the previous discussed ones. These are the ideal conditions. Okay. If there is a thick scar, deeper incision, multiple incision, result will obviously be poor. Success rate will be only 20%. Complications are recurrence, bleeding, infection, and inadvertent incision on corpora cavernosa. Open is the best method to treat anterior urethral stricture. It is the gold standard. Okay, for penile urethral stricture and long segment urethral stricture. What all you need to know in arthroplasty is single stage procedure and stage procedures. Arthroplasty, this is a very important slide. Know the types. Excision and primary anastomosis, gold standard. Augmented arthroplasty, substitution arthroplasty in which graft or flap can be used. Johansson's and Breca. We will discuss it one by one. Excision is the gold standard for short bulbar stricture. Success rate is 98%. See, this stricture part is cut. Okay. Saturation is done anterior-posteriorly. Okay. And anastomosis. Saturation done and tension-free anastomosis is done. Some of the clinical photographs. Okay. Now, excision and primary anastomosis can also be of non-transacting type. You just know the name. Non-transacting bulbar arthroplasty. Okay. What is the advantage here is the non-transacting one will not disrupt the retrograde urethral blood supply. It will not disrupt the retrograde urethral blood supply because you are not transacting the whole of the urethra. You are only transacting the stricture part. What is augmented one? Augmented arthroplasty, most commonly used for long bulbar strictures with bad urethral plate. Okay. Augmentation means you are using some other tissue. You are using some tissue from the buccal mucosa, from tongue, from other place. You are trying to augment the already fragile urethral plate. Okay. It can be with the use of graft or a flap or a combined one. Graft can be of split thickness type, full thickness type. It can be from the bladder epithelium or the oral mucosa. So this will be asked in the exam. Most commonly used is the BMG and LMG. Okay, lingual and buccal are the most commonly used one. What else can be used is rectal mucosa and small intestinal mucosal graft. Okay, BMG was initially started by Humbly in 1941. Ideal substitute for urethra, easily accessible, resistance to infection, compatible with a wet environment, thick epithelium and a thin lamina propria. This will be asked in the NEET exams. The characteristic of BMG, thick epithelium and thin panlaminar propria. BMG can be of dorsal only, ventral only. You just need to know the names. Asopa, Barbagli, Kulkarni. Okay. Some of the diagrams are there. You just need to know the names. Barbagli, Asopa and Kulkarni. Johansson's arthroplasty, you lay open the anterior urethra. In the stage 1, you lay open the anterior urethra, and in the stage 2, you tubularize the near urethra with skin closure. Okay. Contracture here is 30%, and now it was used very commonly earlier, but now not very commonly used. Johansson's. See, there are the exo changes. You have laid open the urethra. And the laid open plate is sutured with the skin. And in the second part, you will make an incision here, and you will close it. This is the Johansson's arthroplasty. See, This was the initial plate. This was the skin. We have made an incision, and now it will be tubularized. This is known as Johansson second stage arthroplasty. Is the diagram self-explanatory? Clear? Can we proceed?
Yes, sir.
See, this is how it looks like. This is the picture from a patient which we had done around, I think, a week back or so. This is how it looks like. Okay, now flap arthroplasty, penile skin flaps are most commonly used for flap arthroplasty. Earlier it was in great demand, but now the graft have taken over as the superior one. Okay, what flaps you can use? Transverse, circular, distal penile, or fasciocutaneous skin flaps. You only need to know the names McAninch or Orandi. Okay, if you have interest, I can supply you with the PPTs, and you can have a read. Okay, Orandi is the longitudinal oblique vertical ventral penile skin flap with a lateral pedicle asked in the NEET exams. Orandi flap. How to follow up a stricture patient? History, pericatheter study, flowmetry, scopy, and RGU. Pericatheter means you have done a arthroplasty, you have put a catheter, and you will inject the dye all around the catheter to know the patency and to look for the leak. Future has tissue engineering. If you have done very well in your exams, the examiner will ask, what is the future for arthroplasty? So you can say tissue engineering and regenerative medicine. These two terms you will utter and you will get the full marks. What in it you need to tell is the small intestinal submucosal flaps from the porcine model as well, cell-seeded graft, and some engineered tissue. Okay, this is the porcine SIS. These are the matrix sheets, and which is how a cell-seeded graft is maintained. Now something about the posterior urethra. Pelvic fracture urethral distraction defect, PFUDD. We have discussed anterior urethra, now coming to the posterior urethra. Following a pelvic fracture with destruction of the posterior urethral continuity, a hematoma is formed. What will that hematoma do? This hematoma will push the site of injury. So a contracture will form or complete transaction will occur, leading to a defect. What is the mechanism of injury? You just need to know the recent concept that PFUI, pelvic fracture injury, is caused by an avulsion of the membranous urethra from the bulbar urethra at the point where they meet at the perineal membrane. This is the golden line you need to tell the examiner. PFUI is caused by avulsion of the membranous urethra from the bulbar urethra at the point where they meet at the perineal membrane. Utter this line in front of the examiner if you get a case of pelvic fracture urethral distraction defect, and I guarantee you will get full marks. This is the injury. See this is the pause. This is the prostatic urethra. This is the membranous urethra. This is the puboprostatic ligament. This is the pubic bone. This is the prostate. This is the puboprostatic ligament. It is injured, and this is the perineal membrane. So this is the site of injury. This is the typical triad asked in the MCQs: blood at the meatus, inability to urinate, and pelvic fracture with hematoma. Butterfly shape pelvic hematoma. Pie in the sky prostate. Pie in the sky prostate is seen in pelvic fracture urethral distraction defect asked in the YOIC and the NEET exams. Now this is the Colapinto classification of posterior urethral injury. Type 1 is only the stretching of the posterior urethra without rupture See, membranous urethra continuity is maintained, but what is ruptured is puboprostatic ligament, and the surrounding periprostatic hematoma is there. This is ruptured, but this is maintained. Type 1. Type 2, partial or complete rupture of the membranous urethra proximal to the genitourinary diaphragm. Type 3, partial or complete rupture of the membranous urethra with disruption of the genitourinary diaphragm. Type 4, bladder neck is also involved. The injury is extended into the bladder neck. And type 5 is pure anteurethral injury. This is the Colapinto classification. Remember it. How do you repair it? You just note the term progressive perineal anastomotic urethroplasty. In bracket Webster. If someone asks you how to repair a posterior urethral injury, you would say, sir, I would perform a progressive perineal anastomotic repair. What is the meaning of progressive perineal? See, there is a defect. There is a defect in the posterior urethra, and now you have excised the strictured part. So you need to mobilize the anterior and the posterior urethra to make them meet in the midline. And there are certain ways in which you can make them meet. That is by rerouting the urethra, cutting the triangular ligament, sometimes doing inferior pubectomy. So all these are technical things, but you just understand the term and know the word progressive perineal urethroplasty. Thank you.